All right, so why I stopped recording and why I'm back. Let's just jump right to it, right? So, welcome back to an extended break here on the Leadership Podcast. Some of you may be returning from our early supporters when we first launched the podcast a few years ago, and some of you might be finding this for the first time, and you get a chance to kind of look back through the library and all the great conversations and episodes that got us to this point today. So, let me start a little bit about covering that component, and then we can go ahead and we got some framework for you today, as we always do. So, let's go ahead here, and I'd say this might feel a little different because this is the first episode from stepping away from the podcast world for a little bit, right? See, I didn't step away because something was bad. I actually stepped away to walk the talk. We always hear it in leadership. We always hear like there's a separation when someone, especially has a good speaking capability, they're just not following their own advice, right? And that diminishes leadership right away. So this gave me an opportunity, as you've seen, that to actually walk the talk, because we're all about healthy leadership here. We're all about, kind of going away from that performance mentality where leaders just feel like they have to perform and their worth is really wrapped around how good they perform. And the deceiving part is when they perform well, they get sucked into believing that they have to do more of that until they hit a wall, until something collapses, and worst case scenario, something breaks down in their life that they can't just easily repair, right? We'll talk about specifics about that, but I think you probably know exactly what I'm talking about if you've been leading for a season or not. If you're brand new to leadership, I'd say this, listen in, join into the conversations with an open mind. Some of these things might not seem as important because they don't seem it until you live it. Right? Until you actually live it. We all go through that season that we feel like that's not going to happen to me. I'll never do that. I said those same words, and I still hear people say that today. But we'll get a chance to kind of say, if you're watching this and you haven't hit these roadblocks yet, consider yourself blessed, because there's people out there that are willing to take what they had, maybe an unfortunate situation or the challenges that they had to overcome, and share that and spend some time sharing those lessons learned with people. So I think that's pretty blessed when you talk about it, right? So we've talked about leadership for years. We've talked about emotional intelligence and healthy boundaries and all those things. And I had a chance to actually walk the talk. In that season, when we started to take a break, there was just too much. There was just too much going on, to be honest with you, right? And I love the podcast space. I love the community that we built. I love the connections that we had. But I had to ask myself a tough question, like, what is the priority in this season? You see, seasons over strategies is something that is one of our proprietary frameworks that we work with. And in that season, the truth is, I needed to focus on some other things. I'm also a father. I'm also a husband. I'm also a pretty active community member and member at my church. Like, there's other things that I was looking at, and it's like things were taking off. I was putting a lot of my energy into being a first-time author. And though there was a part of me that wanted to just say, I can do it and keep pushing on, I had to be honest. I had to say, you know what? I can do it, but at the cost of what, right? Start to get a little on the edge and crispy, and I gotta once again go ahead and say, okay, I'm gonna pause this for this season. So the first part is, if you're taking notes, we got some framework for you real quick. And the first segment we're gonna cover is called the pressure to do everything. You see, there's a pressure to do everything, especially if you're a high performing leader. Like, you want to win at every part in your life. You want to go ahead and do it, and you want to be the best you possibly can be. And sometimes it even comes from a good place in your heart, right? People will say, what's wrong with that, Paul Keller? Nothing's wrong with it per se, but what happens is that it's more about looking at it in reality, right? If we're out there doing everything, it's either quality or quantity. And we actually start to lower the quality of our relationships, the quality of our impact, the quality of you having a more, say, you know what, I'm going to focus on this and not this. You see, the root cause of this is that sometimes we want to people please. Sometimes we have a hard time saying no. Sometimes as a leader, we have a hard time saying, I can't right now. And it's okay. I mean, I would change my thinking in my early years. And I used to tell my first daughter when she was younger that I can't is a curse word. And it's like, don't you say that in this house. And though my intentions was right, now looking at it, it's like, well, it helps in a season, remember, right? But let's be aware of how that can also put us in a place of feeling like I have to do everything. Like I have to do it all because I can never say I can't. Oh, yes, you can. If you ever thought that today is your permission to say, yeah, I can't is not a bad word. Right now, it's actually a great sign of self-awareness, knowing that, you know what, right now in this season, I can't do that. I won't do that, right? This isn't something I'm putting priority to. actually gives good communication to other people to say, hey, don't look to me for that. Look to someone else. And that's perfectly fine. Nothing is wrong with that, right? If our status as a leader, if your relationships is built on you just saying yes, that's not healthy. That's not healthy, my friend. You see, so the next part, let's go ahead here. And we had the first section. Let me give you a quick statistic before we jump in there, because sometimes that helps out too, right? You see, so Gallup Research, if you look at them, they're a great organization that does tremendous work with research. And they found that managers account for approximately 70% of the variance in employee engagement. 70%. So that means a manager will account for that variance at 70%. Why that matters is because if you're carrying that responsibility at work in some shape, what happens is that other areas of your life are affected, whether you want to admit it or not. Right? I'll raise my hand first. I've been managing teams for the past 2 decades, and though you learn some things just stay true. It'll always be that challenge is always there, right? That's part of the core of a work of a leader or manager. So if leaders are overwhelmed, if they're distracted, if they're burnt out, guess what? That spreads. That starts to poison that culture, right? Because you're too stretched thin. Let's go to number 2, practicing what I teach. Right? It seems like a basic thing, but my question to you is write down, here's a good exercise. Write down some core beliefs that you have, some non-negotiables, like this needs to happen. And we call this the mirror check. We call this where you're actually checking your mirror. Whatever you're looking at, before you look out the window, before you dare to ask someone else to do it, you make sure you're looking in the mirror first. Like, am I showing up like this? Do I hold this standard to myself that I'm expecting of others? And you might just get a rude awakening, to be honest with you. I mean, the chances are you will. I'll just shoot you straight here, right? You will. You will. If you play full out with this exercise, you will. You'll be amazed on many parts of your life that you actually skip over yourself and you expect it from others. And it's such a great and powerful exercise because this is where it starts. We hear it all the time, right? Does my leader walk the talk? And you might even say it, but if we're saying it, we got to make sure we're practicing it. And nothing helps you better than doing that good mirror check, right? Some of you are great at being a self-coach to coach yourself with things. You're able to step away and have that perspective. That's a very rare skill set. If you're not, get a coach. Get someone to actually not be in the stress that you're working in, but have an outside perspective. It's a powerful perspective to kind of share with you, right? That you can see things from a different point of view that helps you actually see what's going on, right? We're great at rationalizing our excuses. We're great at that, right? We're great at pointing out why others need to change. And we're great also at making excuses on why I don't have to, or you don't have to, right? So go ahead and get that accountability and that leverage to help you do that. Let's jump to number 3 real quick. So number 3 is success is knowing what to say no to. Do you have a stop list? Do you? Right? We do another exercise where we have your calendar, and it's basically every slot on your calendar is a parking stall, and you have all the cars, you have all the tasks, everything you're working on that's parked. And when something new comes in, guess what? No double parking. If you're going to move something in, something has to go out, right? Slot in, slot out. That's it. It's really simple. What happens is that, especially if you're high performing, you're going to get assigned more tasks. More people are going to reach out to you. More people want to meet with you. More people want to talk with you. But more people just want 2 minutes of your time. And guess what? It's never 2 minutes. But if you keep saying yes, every yes has a no. So you gotta call it in a moment, right? When you're about to say yes, ask yourself the same question. What am I saying no to? Right? Especially if you're already high functioning and your day's already full. What are you saying no to? And be brave enough to say no to it. Have that conversation. Tell somebody, you know what? I was focusing on this in this season. Right now, I'm communicating to you. I will not be moving forward. Right? From this day moving forward, it's going to be on you or the team. I will no longer be responsible for this. But have that conversation. People will respect you for that. Right? Let's go ahead here. Now, the next point that we have is number 4, why I'm back. So this is personal. If you're still listening in, thank you for dedicating your time to just kind of listen and be part of this community and contribute to the conversations. We have many different ways that you can comment below, reach out to me directly on social media, or maybe we might even have a chance to work alongside each other. So why I'm back is that there's always a sense to provide a voice where people aren't willing to have that conversation. And healthy leadership is something I continue to see, right? Performance gets all the attention, all the shining, all the flash in the pan, all the trends. That'll get the likes, that'll get the comments, that'll go viral. But what hurts, where my heart breaks, to be honest with you, is when I see good people, good leaders are out there trying to make a difference, holding true to their core, and they're either getting burnt out, like washed out, like they just don't want to do it. They give up because they feel like it's a losing fight, or there's parts, or they start to change their ways and they start to this is what I did. They start to give in and try out the trending parts of leadership, and then the important parts of their life start to take damage. And that's why I'm here, because until there's more people speaking in that space, until that is well heard and well received, I will continue to be part of that. I'm not the only one. I'm not going to be as ignorant to say that. I'm definitely not the only one. There's many out there doing it, but there needs to be more. There needs to be more people speaking into that space of healthy leadership. That way we can push against the hustle and push against all of this deceiving components that just trick you and lie to you and tell you, if you give this up, don't worry, you'll get it back later. No, you won't. No, you won't. Take care of your relationships. Take care of your health. Take care of your spiritual walk. Very important parts. No one else can do that for you, right? Take care of you. Take care of you. Not in a weak way, but in the most strength that you'll ever have. Take care of you. Be willing to look in the mirror more than anyone else around you. Be the person in your circle that's the most willing to look in the mirror every single time, and do a self-check, right? Don't be interested in what others can change. Be interested in, how can I continue to face who I really am and change who I need to be to continue to go. And we're good as you come. There's nothing wrong per se with us, but in our flesh, there is something that we all wrestle with ego. We all wrestle with pride. We all wrestle with hurt and selfishness, right? We all wrestle with these things. Some are deeper than others, but it's a very real thing. And to walk around just being positive, making like it doesn't affect us, we're actually still hurting other people, right? We're actually still hurting other people, even though we might be happy and put it on a smile or might be strong. But what happens is that we're still causing hurt to other people. So be willing to look at those parts. And thank you for spending your time here in the first episode that we reconnected here on the podcast. I enjoyed these conversations. I look forward to it. My name is Paul Kalamoxman. If you're listening here, I'm sure you probably see it already. But some people ask, how do you say it? That's how you say it. We'll talk more about those things later. But glad to have you back. Glad to be back. And let's continue to move forward. I'll see you on the next episode.